Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review for tonight's transfer show. And, well, there's a lot to discuss, I guess. A lot of stuff in. We have signed a young Manchester City Academy player, which Stato has done some good work on, I think. And also...
Quick work.
Yeah. Just to let you know about the situation with Trippier, apparently Bayern Munich have gone in with another offer of around, I think it's 12.7 or 13 million.
It was
looks
15.
like it's been rejected. I don't think it was 15.
I read 15 from athletic sources.
Well,
unless they put a euro symbol and I've missed it.
Could have been, but who knows? Who knows? The fact is, it's been rejected again. So I think Newcastle are doing the very best to hang on to him. But, you know, you never know what might happen. Times could change in football very, very quickly, as we know. No news on Miggy Almiron yet. It's very difficult to see if players are going to go in or out. It's 15 million euros, which works out at 12 round about 13. Well, 12.8 million to be precise. So that's interesting, Billy, that's been rejected.
Yeah, I think, as I said last night, I think they want to sell one of them, and I think the one that they want to sell is Miguel Almiron. The most money out of the three, the four, if you include yourselves. The one that would impact us least on leadership kind of abilities. You know, and maybe it's easier to sign a right winger than it would be a striker or centre forward or centre half. You know, it's probably the easiest one to replace, I guess.
Yeah,
but I think I want to be the one out the door. If I'm perfectly honest, I think they want to keep Trippier at all costs because of the impact he's had on the club since he arrived. So let's hope that's the case.
I mean, Alex, you know, it does sort of swing towards Miggy. That's the one that's going to leave, doesn't it? At the moment, the where everything stands.
Based on reporting, it doesn't necessarily mean reporting's true at all. I don't think sources are necessarily right anymore. I think obviously Craig Hope and Sky, obviously Keith Downey's just come back from holiday and had to try and catch up, which is quite funny. Bless him. He's done a good job though. I'm not so sure that the sources. I don't think this really matters anymore. I think a lot of the sources tell people what. I think the club can spin their own narrative at this point. There might be the odd source that gives you some good information, but I think they're pushing different things out to help us. Nobody had Alfie Harrison. I'm sorry, but I, along with you two and me, and a lot of people in the chat, spent a lot of time researching stuff about this club. I've not seen one person say Alfie Harrison was going to sign, and I've seen at least 5 reports from people saying, I knew this last week. I just didn't want to divulge the information. Blah, blah. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. I'm sorry. I've not seen any links at all in the last week. It's ridiculous.
Not even that. I don't think anyone even knew who Alfie Harrison was until 5 o'clock today.
Well, to be honest, a certain Irishman had put that the deal, of course, for Calvin Phillips was done. Suddenly backtracking again, like I said today. Backtracking.
I just want to put it out there that some of these guys have sources. Some of them, whether they're good, middle of the ground, or bad sources, is irrelevant. At the moment, the club are spinning different narratives and pushing their own narratives out there, which is clear to see. Because none of the people that we sort of know, the bigger ones, nobody's called Alfie Harrison. None of them.
No, absolutely not. But, you know, it's just typical, you know, of Newcastle, really. These guys coming out of the woodwork, you know, just all of a sudden somebody is signed. I mean, obviously, he's not the signing that we all sort of expected, you know, to go straight into the first team or anything like that. I mean, he's a very good player, don't get me wrong. But I don't think he'll be straight in the first team. Again, we want some players that will cover the positions that were, you know, stressed at the start of the transfer window. You know, like a striker, a number 6, definitely. But we're not really covering that ground yet, Billy. I don't know if it's starting to worry you, but, you know, is it a case of waiting till one out the door before we can maybe pay loan fees and get loan deals in?
I would say so. I would say that was imperative. I'm not sure loans are the way to go as such, because who's loaning out really good players? Nobody. And if you do, you have to pay a lot of money for them. And if they're available for loan, it means they're not first team players.
Yeah.
So I don't see loans as a way to go. Personally, I think you want to buy permanently. That way, you're getting someone that possibly they don't want to leave, but you've offered them the money that will make them leave. And I think that helps us. If for £30 million, which has got the fee that's bandied about, that gives us a lot of wiggle room, doesn't it, in what we can spend on a player. So, yeah, I think if we sell Mick for the right amount, we can definitely buy and not loan someone in.
Interesting. Guys, just to remind you, if you do enjoy tonight's show, please give it the thumbs up. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, click the bottom right-hand corner of the screen there and click subscribe. We are heading towards 27,000, guys. So with your help, we can get there sooner rather than later. Also, you can become a member of the Toon Review if you do so wish by hitting the join button just underneath the three of us. Lots of good prizes coming up very, very soon for our members. And of course, you can donate to the channel if you do so wish by hitting that $sign underneath the live comments. And that will also guarantee your comment to be read straight out. We have a couple of Billy F is a new member. Welcome to the Members Club, Billy F. Trolls, who's been a member now for 2 years. Thank you, Trolls. Hope we have someone ready if Wilson or Miggy goes. And Annie, good evening to you. Thank you for your super chat. That's very kind, buddy. And I hope you're doing well. Right, Alex, who would you like to discuss first of all tonight?
I think I'm going to be mean. We'll save Mr. Master Harrison. Mr. Harrison, I mean, he's 18. Mr. Harrison. He's a man. Yeah. He's officially a man, but he's still a child. I will put that out. He is a baby, but he is a man officially. We'll start with we'll go a little bit different. If my screen needs to behave.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's going to be a different. Yeah, there you go. It's ready. It's fine. Sorry, some technical difficulties backstage, but there we go.
Okay, here we go. That's Alfie Harrison, Alex.
It's displaying the other. We've had him there. Bear with us a second, guys.
Oh, dear. Well, we may as well start with Alfie Harrison now. No, hang on, we're changing. We'll go with Nusa. There you go, yeah, Antonio Nusa.
So I don't know if we've got any other Spurs regulars that do frequent the channel here, but this is someone who has been linked heavily with Tottenham.
He has,
but his name's cropped up last night and a bit today. There's been some outlets reporting that we're trying to hijack. Is that the right word? Get involved, Nick, whatever the word is. This is a lad that we've reviewed before on a transfer show, funnily enough, a little while ago. I did recognise the name. It was quite a long time ago, but I don't know if you guys remember. We have done him once before.
Mm-hmm.
It was a while ago though. So you'll have to really jog your memories. So
I
think it might have been one that me and Billy just did together. So I'm not sure you were there, Paul, but we've definitely done him before.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting this link to come back up, to be completely honest. It's been a bit of a surprise. However, young, impressive Norwegian lad, 18 years old, 3 goals and 2 assists in the Pro League for Club Bruges, with some minutes in the Conference League as well with a goal. He is very, very young. However, I don't know if you want to have a go at actually saying his real name, Paul.
Emreneseli Nordby Nusa.
It's better than I could do. I'll give you that.
Well, I do try.
The important bits. There's the important bit. So bear in mind, because it is Club Bruges. Yeah, exactly. Because it's Club Bruges, though, it is being compared to the next. So the men's next 14 competitions, comparing leagues such as the MLS, Portuguese top division, the Belgian league, things like that. So this is not. So when you look at the actual colours and percentiles, that is not against Europe's top 5. So something that's better to look at is the numbers themselves, which is still very, very impressive. So 6.49 progressive carries per 90. This one here. Mm-hmm. And 5 successful take-ons, which is really, really impressive. So when this guy picks the ball up, he progresses it very, very well via dribbling, and he normally beats his man. He's a very skillful young man that gets a lot of touches in the attack and penalty area. The ball goes to him. He receives over 12 passes a game high up the pitch. His shot-creating actions, so he's creating 5 sort of shots for teammates from things that he's doing for sort of further back in the pitch. Shots total as well, nearly 3.5 shots per game, which is pretty high. It's very, very high. You've got to remember this kid's only 18 years old. So around 1,000 minutes, just shy of 1,000 minutes worth of data. So pretty good. It's another kind of Mintes kind of signing. If we would go for someone like this, it's somebody that may not be perfect. Very, very good underlying signs, though. His data is really good. He profiles really well. He's scoring. He's playing at a good level. Club Bruges is a very, very, very good club. If I can actually get my words out, sorry guys. We can have a look at some comparisons. You've got Zinkernagel, who is his club mate at Club Bruges. You've got Somerville, which is an interesting profile because we keep kind of having that name crop up for us.
He's been linked with us quite a couple of times, I think.
Little bit, yeah.
Leeds, hasn't he?
Yeah, can never say goodbye, can we?
No, thanks, Billy. Indeed.
Mavididi as well is on this list from Leicester, which is very highly rated. So you can tell that there's obviously someone sat in an office in a data room in the club, just kind of banging keys and looking at things like this and spitting out
Billy,
players like this.
Billy, I'm not sure you're aware, mate, that your camera's frozen.
So it has. Can you still hear me?
We can still hear you loud and clear, mate. But you have frozen like an iceberg.
I'm interested to see what Foxy said about him in case he knows something that I don't. Yes, I would hate for him to go to Spurs as well because I would like him because he's really, really good. I do remember when we did the first show, really, really interesting young player. And it'd be nice if we could get all of the players of this profile. And if they don't work, we probably make a profit on them anyway. So it's win-win. It really, really is win-win. We just develop them. We make money. It's what Chelsea and City are currently doing. We need to be really, really good in the youth market at the moment. So career to date, I don't know what division that is. Elite Syrian, is that the top?
I think that's the top that's the top Norwegian. I'm sure it is.
I can't remember what the name of it is.
Elite division. I think that's what it I'm pretty sure. And if that's the case, at 15-year-olds, you know, 3 goals in the top league. That's quite impressive.
Well, even so, he's got a reasonable amount of minutes and appearances. He could do with starting to get a bit more now because he's obviously 18. He's made 15 appearances, 6 starts this season with 700 minutes. It was sparing, but he was young. It's fair enough. He's one of those kinds of players. I know him quite well personally from Football Manager because I have a very fun save. This is very nerdy football wise, but I took Rupel Boom, who are that is their name, Rupel Boom, who is a 4th division Belgian side up to the top, and I signed this kid. So he was really good in Football Manager. Doesn't mean he's going to be any good in real life, but it's normally a reasonably good indicator. But it's not entirely. You know, you've got to actually watch him, look at the data. But he profiles really, really well. I do think it's another kind of Minte type of signing. I think he would be a little bit more than 7, possibly, because Minte was 7. We signed him from a Danish team. I don't know if we'd get this kid for under 10. Maybe. I don't think he's worth more than 10 because I think it's a bit risky. I think he could do with a bit more development, to be honest. I think this is very much a purchase where, especially if it's January, you buy him and you tell him to stay there and develop. I don't think we would get this kind of signing through in January, though. I don't know. I think it's just a smokescreen potentially. It's weird news. It's thrown me. A lot of it makes sense normally, but why would we rival Spurs for him right now when there's everything going on? I mean, it could be true, but it's just odd.
I mean, there's no reason it couldn't be true. I mean, obviously, you know, we are, like we've said many, many times, that we will be looking at different players from different countries. There's no doubt about that, and certainly building for the future with a kind of blend of youth and experience, really. And Noosa gives us the youth side of it, but he looks like a hell of a player, to be honest.
What is he rated? Okay, yeah, I was right. He was going to. I said I thought he was going to cost well over 10. He's rated at 17-ish. Okay, yeah, he's going to be more expensive than Minter because he's a little bit more high profile at the moment.
Interesting that the current rumours are Tottenham and Brentford.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Newcastle.
If we'd have gone for him, because I can't remember. I don't know if anybody can remember this, but we definitely did this kid before on a transfer show. I guarantee his market value then would have probably been around 5 million. So somebody should have pulled the trigger back then. But he's been developed where he is now. So Norwegian with Nigerian descent. 2027 contract expiry. Yeah, I mean, he'd cost a lot more than Minte did. He'd be they'd ask for quite a lot of cheese, but he's apparently plays across the front line. Again, if the rumours persist and he doesn't go to Spurs, we'll have to do a bit more watching and see if he's any good. Obviously, look at this, though. Interesting article there. Tottenham set to sign the next Jeremy Doku. I mean, there's obviously people that think he's very, very good. I know he's very, very highly rated in Norway. I've got family there, and I have mentioned it before. And
yeah, I mean, obviously, he's still raw, and I think that's the thing. He's raw with amazing potential. I think that's the best way to put it. And I think if he came to
he wouldn't be a first teamer at all. It would be the same as Qual and Minte. He'd need at least another year to go and play and learn. He wouldn't be a first temer, even though he would cost quite a lot.
But then suddenly, sometimes we see these kids coming through and be absolute stars. But again, we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, looking at that, I mean, Tottenham obviously have declared a big interest in him. We know that already. Newcastle rumoured to be sniffing around. I don't know if this would be a winter one, Alex, or it would be a summer one. I'm probably leaning towards a summer move. If he indeed doesn't go to Tottenham, and if he goes on a summer move, then maybe it's like you say, the same as Minte again, to find him a club to go to. I mean, they could send him to the same club that Minte is at. I mean, can you imagine that? And then Minte comes back to us. We just use them as it would be a good idea.
It'd be great. It would be great. However, I feel like anybody we bring in this, well, I'm completely contradicting myself here with what I'm about to say, but anybody we bring in this window needs to be able to help in the first team. And obviously we've just signed somebody who is potentially not of that profile in Alfie Harrison. So, but we don't know what the fee was.
Yeah, it's all quiet on the fee, isn't it? So we
it
don't
will come out eventually, but we don't know what that fee was. So
yeah,
it's tricky.
I mean, Billy, I don't know how much you got to see of him there. Noosa, is it somebody that you'd be interested in seeing?
Absolutely, yeah. He looks like a kid with no pressure on his shoulders. An 18-year-old kid who's unaware of any kind of pressures on football, likes to just take people on and take shots and create things.
Yeah,
so
and that's what we want to see, isn't it? Somebody who'll get us off our seats and get us excited. That's what we like as Newcastle fans, isn't it? A player that will get us off our seats, get us excited. Yes, Alex?
Nothing.
No. Please. Oh, no. Let's move on. We had enough of that last night. Yes, lips well and truly sealed. No doubt about it. But we do like a player. I was going to mention, I was going to say, Ginola and Robert and Ben Arthur, those type of players that will get you off your seat and actually watch them smash the back of the net as well, which, good evening, Alan. Hope you're well. But yeah, definitely a player that is certainly on the radar. But I think realistically, Spurs may make a move for him this month. Because I think Spurs will be aware, Alex, that there is other clubs interested in him and they will want to get a deal signed up if they are as interested as what the media are stressing.
I don't know about that because I think clubs know a lot more than we do and their agents also know a lot more than we do. So Tottenham will know if this is nonsense or if it's true, and then they will act accordingly. So unfortunately, unless they're really naive and they've not got the right links, but I wouldn't imagine Tottenham are a fairly well-run club, quite strict, and who Daniel Levy is. So I wouldn't imagine it'd be an issue. I think they will know whether there's competition or not, and they will then act accordingly. I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be like a big secret and like, oh, is so and so going to be doing this and going to be that? No, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
So I think they'll know if they need to up the price and act quickly or not.
Incidentally, Romano has tweeted out that Bayern have sent a new formal bid to Newcastle United for Kieran Trippier in the region of 15 million euros. Newcastle,
which I did check, is 12.8.
Yes, I did say that, Alex. Anyway, NUFC insisted yesterday on Trippier staying at the club. So, look, they're trying to hang on to him. Whether Bayern Munich come back again We will just have to wait and see. But as we're on air, guys, there's quite a bit of feedback on social media regarding the signing of Alfie Harrison, and a lot of fans thinking. A lot of fans are actually saying, why are we signing him when we should be signing first-team players? We are desperate for first-team players, and we're bringing in kids in the January window. What is the point? It's an interesting argument, though, to be honest, Billy, isn't it? I mean, we're desperate for first-team players in certain positions, and, is the academy something that we should be looking at in the summer?
Well, I guess it all depends on how advanced his kid is in his career. Is he a mature 18-year-old that can step straight into the first team? We don't know. Well, obviously, no one's ever seen him, so none of us will know. It depends how much he costs. I guess he might, if he's only £1 or £2 million, then I guess that's something we could afford to pay without really worrying about anything to do with FFP. So it's a strange one to kind of figure out, really, isn't it? If we see him in the squad on Saturday, then we'll know the answer, won't we? But until we see him for a prolonged period of time, we're not going to know, are we?
I mean, look, you cannot please everybody, and fans really, I mean, they complain for anything. If we'd made a first team signing, people would have complained.
Well, I mean, Tom's just answered. Tom's just said what I was going to say, which I know you don't like me putting comments on, but I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
the window's not closed yet. It might not mean that we're not still fishing for other things. This was just something that we had in the pipeline anyway.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that we've abandoned other avenues.
I mean, look, Travoy makes a good point here. He says, looking at Alfie Harrison, he might be ready for first team action. We have Miley, so why not? Why not? Will he be ready? We all know it's hard to break into the City's first team. It's a very good point, and it's like you say, Billy. He could be ready, to get a few games in.
I mean, I'm not even sure if he made the bench for the Carabao Cup game. I can't remember, if I'm perfectly honest. So, has he been on the bench for Man City before? That maybe their stats all have. But
you can have a look. I would continue though, because that's going to take me more than a few seconds to check.
Ab says they won't ditch the long-term plan simply because of short-term issues. Indeed, 100%. I don't really want them to do that. Billy, I don't want them to get. Whatever plans they've got, I want them to stick to. We're going through a bit of a ropey spell at the minute, but that happens to everybody, and it happens to us. And I think, it's just stick to what we know. And the owners aren't stupid. Like we said yesterday, they're good business people, and we know what they want. They know what they need to be successful. Barry the Beast says, I hate 90% of our fan base, very fickle and short-sighted. Wake up and see the owners have a plan. Youth players in will develop for cheap and then be used in the first team or sold for profit. Simple. And you know what? As much as we laughed at Chelsea, Billy, that's kind of the way I think most people are looking. They build up the academy. They get a strong academy. They can loan players out, which generates loan fees and money. They can sell the players that they don't think are going to make it for money. It's all income at the end of the day. And then if we do get 2 or 3 that come through, then that's even better.
Well, you've got to remember, for years and years and years and years, historically, since the game of football was invented even, that the North East has been a massive hotbed for football and youth talent that have gone on to become fantastic footballers. I mean, 2 in the World Cup winning side of 6, of course, 2 lads Mashington. Newcastle United not always have been on the ball where it comes to North East talent. And certainly during the Ashley era, where he kind of didn't have that at all. And Chelsea had the actual, it was their patch, the North East talent and youth was their patch. They were allowed to come into the North East and take youth players away or guide them elsewhere. And now it's a case of us having to buy youth team talent in until we can get that scouting kind of base and proper youth scouts watching young talent set up. It's going to take time. So at the moment, we're having to buy a certain amount of players in because we haven't got the youth team deal. So it's something that's got to be done. And like I said last night, to grow organically, you've got to have a very good academy to build, so it saves you money. And in the future, if players want to move on to Real Madrid and that, then you're getting full profit for it. So it's a really important part of having a top football club. All the best football clubs in the world have fantastic youth academies, every single one.
Yeah, and sort of Manchester City, Alex, are kind of, they're scouting the world for these youngsters as well. And, we've brought one in from Manchester City who maybe Man City don't feel like he's going to be he's going to make the grade for them, but it's very, very different. To make the grade for Manchester City, the players that they've already got, it's going to take something very, very special, isn't it? If we're honest.
I wouldn't say they didn't think he was going to make the grade. I think he was very much involved from the recent research that I've done. He looks like he was very much involved in the setup. He was doing very, very well. There was possibly a path to the first team. So
I'm not sure Man City let him go if they feel he's going to be another Foden or someone like that. However, that's not taking anything away from Harrison. I just generally
depends on the positions as well. You've got to remember, so the bench against us, I've had a look. So this was on the 13th. What are we today? The 23rd, 10 days ago. So they did have Mateus Nunes, who they obviously got from Wolves, and Calvin Phillips on the bench, and then Oscar Bob, who came on. So they had a lot of sort of midfield / forward options, and Grealish was on the bench as well. There's a lot of players there. So
yeah, then again, Looney Tune makes a good point, Alex. They let go of Palmer, didn't they? So Cole Palmer, who's
they have to for a few reasons. Simple as that.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not just that. If they express interest elsewhere, Pep and the setup have been quite happy to just let people go. They don't want any drama. They're not interested. If your head's turned, go. They've always done that. Yeah. So
let's not forget we lost a fantastic talent. Lee Clarkson went to Liverpool, and he's now playing games for them. So sometimes it happens like that. And now
swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. Arani Granny says a lot of the youth players we have are never going to make it to the top level. We have to grow it and profit from it on and off the pitch. I agree with that. I think that the academy, the youth teams need to be better, and obviously they're working on that
I think the goalkeeper situation has proved that. The fact that we're happy to stack 3 goalkeepers on a bench, I'd be mortified if I was a youth team midfielder. I'd be mortified. I would think, right, why am I not good enough to get on this bench with an injury crisis? Yeah. Like if Bruno gets suspended, we have 2 midfielders in a 3 midfield system. That's it. And we're still putting 2 goalkeepers on the bench. If you're a midfielder in that academy setup, you must be thinking, what the hell am I doing wrong? Like, I actually feel a little bit sorry for them. Like, can we not work with them? Are they just not good enough? Like, at this point, just release them. And that sounds horrible because you obviously want to support these young lads, but if you're putting 2 or 3 goalkeepers on the bench, what are we doing here?
Just a bit of breaking news as well, guys. Newcastle have confirmed that Joelinton has undergone surgery and might be back for the last game of the season on May the 19th. So maybe he hasn't played his last game for Newcastle United.
When's the cup final?
Well, exactly. I mean, does that finish a week after the final? Normally a week after the Premier League's finished, isn't it? I think they trialed it once a couple of years back when it was before the end of the season, which didn't even feel like anything like a cup final because it always comes at the end, doesn't it? Normally before the Champions League final, though, isn't it? So, yeah, he may be back for the final. It's the 25th of May, says Lawrence, the final. So, listen, how good would that be if he plays in the final league game just to get his match fitness and we're in the cup final and he plays in that?
Scores a hat-trick, everyone's winner.
Oh, wow. Let's get tasty. Let's get tasty. That would be nice. But so there you go. Joelinton has undergone surgery. So hopefully... apparently it all went well, and he'll be back. I mean, let's not get too carried away when Newcastle give you timescales on when players are coming back, because we've kind of all sort of known what's happened with that in the past, haven't we? So
we're back by Christmas.
I mean, it doesn't say which year, by the way, May the 19th is. It just says May the 19th. So that could, in Newcastle terms this season, the way things have gone, we could be looking at 2025, guys. But no, in all seriousness, speedy recovery to Big Joe, and hope he gets back on the field very, very, very soon. Who's next, Alex?
We might as well go on to the main man. So I'll bring, I mean, there's not a lot around of him, so we're going to go to Twitter in a second. But
there you go.
So Alfie Harrison with no picture. He does look a little bit like
a bit pale,
very pale.
Yeah.
So there is sod all about him on certain websites. We've got the fact that he's a midfielder for Man City, so this is useless. So unfortunately, because there's no data, because he's young, I am going to have to refer to Twitter for this one. So I'm going to go for something a little bit different. So this is something I found pre-show, and it's from a Man City page from December the 21st. So this is pre-move. This is obviously it's going to be biased towards him being a good player because it's Man City. However, although I don't know if this guy's exclusively Man City, but this was pre-transfer. So, and this guy has got a few bits of information, and obviously there's the videos floating around online. A lot of people will have seen the videos, and I will reference those too. So he is a midfielder. He does tend to favour left side. The initial stuff that I've seen reminds me very much of a Willock kind of profile in terms of a little bit different, but he's very slippery, hard to get the ball off. He starts in midfield, he drives, and he often drives left and then drives back centrally. So it reminds me a lot of the kind of runs that Willock does make. So we'll actually have a look at what they're saying he is. So they're saying he's 5'10", 145 pounds, which is 10 stone 5. I'd probably say he's a little bit more than that. But you never know. Left-footed, apparently, which is an interesting and slightly different profile.
Yeah, I like the way it says fast-moving feet.
I mean, this is just what this guy's written. I just thought it's decent for us to have something to look at because there's nothing elsewhere. So again, pretty useless stuff in terms of ball carrying, dribbling, ball striking. I mean, I should hope so. He's a footballer. However, this kind of backs up the stuff I watched in a video. People saying attacking midfielder, Mezzala / left winger. So Mezzala, for people who don't know, is a midfielder that likes to drift out wide, which is kind of what we just mentioned with the way Willock works in our system. Left-sided 8 potentially is in mind for our current shape. Obviously, in recent weeks, we've had an issue with specifically nobody being good on that left side because Joelinton's gone now. He's done for the season. So left-sided 8. Longstaff struggles left side. Miley struggled left side. Bruno needs to sit where he currently is. So there's no one really who's shining as a left-sided 8. I don't think we're going to experiment with Gordon there unless we play some sort of Matt Target. Let's just throw caution to the wind and try something. I don't see who else we play as 8.
Maybe it is we try something. We've tried it. Well, have we tried a lot of things this season? I'm not so sure. So maybe we do see a little bit of a change up.
Well, obviously Lewis Hall. A lot of my barber's a Chelsea fan, and he said to me, "Why are you not playing Lewis Hall in midfield?" Because we did, and I went, "Well, to be honest with you, mate, I don't know. I can't answer that question. I'm not sure." Yeah, we watched him at Chelsea, and we really liked his performances as left back in midfield. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know. However, this kid kind of fits that profile. He's very young though. But again, if you're good enough, you're old enough. So, I mean, if you want a bit more information, again, I'm going to have to fact check this. This is just something I found pre-show because he signed literally like 12 seconds ago.
Would you like to tell everybody where you were, Alex, when you heard about this signing?
But not really, no.
Okay. It wasn't the toilet, guys. It wasn't the toilet. Before anybody says, he wasn't at home.
I wasn't expecting I would need to quickly go home and prep something because I wasn't.
Yeah. Predator makes a good point. Hope you're well, Preds, and your recovery's still going well, my friend. What is it with left-footed players now? When I was a kid, kids that were left-footed were rare. I was the only left-footed kid in my school and football team. It's a good point, that, Billy, because when we went to school, you used to pick your teams for football, and then it came to that left side, and you're thinking, who's there to play left-footed, or who can play there? A left back or left wing, whatever sort of left side you want. There was nobody, was there?
Well, I was the only one in my school, to be honest. So, I mean, I've got the sweetest left foot in Coventry. There you go. It doesn't smell the sweetest, but it was the sweetest from football point of view. I could ping it 50 yards.
So what you're trying to say is, Billy, it's sweet, but in a very Stilton cheese kind of way as well.
Sweet but sour.
Funny enough, I can actually, I'm both-footed, and ice hockey I could play right or left-handed as well. Snooker I can play right or left-handed. It's quite a never mind. Moving on.
For people correcting this, by the way. Yeah, no, I know he has more goals now. This was in December. So, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, this was dated.
Take a note of the date, guys. It's I mean, look, he looks exciting, Billy, doesn't he? And somebody that I think may well be able to, make a period. I'm not saying he's going to get thrown straight into the first team or anything like that. But this guy may make appearances on the bench and get minutes.
Well, short midfielders, and when Bruno inevitably gets his next yellow card,
Absolutely, yeah.
who plays the 2 games afterwards? So why shouldn't...
Would he play Harrison or would he play Joe White? That is the question.
Well, who knows? Well, I guess it's down to Eddie Howe to choose, but I mean, there's no point, no way we having another option, is there, to pick from? And this kid obviously looks good from a Man City U team point of view. You know, other clubs have brought U team players in and they've done really well. You think about Harvey Elliott at Liverpool. He came in as a youngster and he looks an excellent player every time I see him. So why not? Why not?
Dan Brown's mentioning Sanusi as well. Now, Sanusi is somebody that did stand out in that poor defeat against Bournemouth for the under-18s. And Alex, you know, he does remind you a little bit of a certain Frenchman. You know, he's got the skills and stuff like that. So there is, listen, we're writing off the academy and saying, oh, there's not any good players out. There is a few in there. And certainly we bought a few in the summer who, you know, you look at young Alex Murphy, he's a talent and ready to step in. Miley's obviously done that. Sanusi's another one coming through. So there is players there, isn't there? Disagree with me. Go on then, whatever. I mean 1 or 2. I don't mean like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's that. So a lot of people here watched that because it was streamed on YouTube. The game against Bournemouth, we got absolutely pasted. Yes, the young lad on the left wing was tidy. However, it's really hard to know how that translates to senior football. Sometimes when you're watching youth football, they do things where it doesn't matter what level it's at. They'll move with the ball or they'll do something physically or with shooting. They'll do something where it doesn't matter what level you're going to be at. That applied anywhere is amazing. Whereas with some of the things he was doing, he was great. However, the close control, the dribbling, the awareness, the speed, it was lovely. But again, in senior football, the players defending against you are going to be in position faster. They're going to have a lot more experience in the tackle. They're going to read you like better. So is that going to translate into senior football as well? It might do. Absolutely, it might do. But I've not seen it to be able to. Do you know what I mean? Like, absolutely, you might be right. I can't. I've not seen enough to confirm whether that's right or wrong. Possibly, we'd have to see him in a higher level environment. He'd have to go train with the senior team. He'd have to make a few appearances in the cup. But until he plays at a higher level, we're not going to see that.
I mean, that was under 18 as well, as another level above that, isn't there? Like the likes of Ndewene and Diallo, people like that.
Yeah. But you know, like you say, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Simple as that. We've seen some real starlets come through before at very young ages.
But again, you can see what Miley does. A lot of it is not really dependent to who's in front of him. A lot of what he does well is he's in control of that. His just awareness of the ball, his distribution, his movement, his physicality.
Yeah.
It doesn't always rely on the opposition. Whereas with a winger, when you're running at people, and I don't know, I just feel like it's a lot more dependent on whether the opposition's any good. On the fullback, whether the centre half helps in, whether there's wide cover from the midfield, whether you can skip past them at a higher level. I feel like it's harder to tell. I guess midfield, Miley's done a really difficult job as well and does it well. I don't know. This is way above my pay grade to comment on. I'm not a coach. I just think we need to see it.
It's not a case of that. It's just like everything on this channel that we do. It's a discussion. It's
of course.
You know,
as a fan, I don't know. I'd love to be able to put him on the left wing, and he'd be great against Premier League opposition.
Yeah,
doesn't always work like that, but hopefully.
Ian, I think it's your computer, mate. It's certainly not YouTube. It's certainly not us. Everything's working perfectly fine, matey. So it's nothing to do with us. Foxy says Sanusi should have stayed at Blues. He was on the bench for the first team last season.
I saw Cobblers against Birmingham in pre-season. I don't know if he was involved in that. Have a look.
I think he'd already moved by then, hasn't he? I think did he not come in?
It was very early doors pre-season, so maybe not.
Interesting.
I might have actually seen him live. Who knows? Forgotten.
Ian says he's just reset and all is good. Well, there you go. Absolutely, matey. Right, guys, we've got 1,200 watching, which is incredible. Thank you so much again for your support. Please do hit that like button for us. And of course, if you are new, click the bottom right-hand corner and click subscribe. Come and be part of this incredible community. as you've seen, it really is a very much a family channel. So welcome to everybody who has joined the channel. And of course, keep those super chats coming in, guys, at the bottom of the live comments. Hit the $sign, and that will also guarantee you to get your comment read out on the channel. Right, who's next, Alex?
It is your favourite player.
Ah, yes. Yes, Benjamin Sesko. Can you imagine these signs, Billy, and doing the commentary next season? I mean, it's just like...
If we're going for Benny Sesko.
Thank you for that musical accompaniment there, Billy. That's beautiful. That just, just totally relaxed me there. Billy Bob Coleman, ladies and gentlemen, he's here all week. Take it away. I'm just going to call you Benjamin there. I'll call you Alex.
Right, so a lot of people know who this is. We have done him before in transfer shows. He was linked with Manchester United in the summer. He was linked with us. He ultimately went from a Red Bull team, strangely enough, to another Red Bull team, yes, which does happen quite a lot. So Salzburg, he was really, really good for them, as pretty much everyone is, because they're just the most ridiculous Austrian Bundesliga team on the planet. So I'm going to start in a different place today. I'm going to start in a different place. I'm going to very quickly scroll down so you can't see. I'm going to scroll down to who he actually compares to. Isak's on the list. So just to give you a quick rundown, he's 6'4". He's young, he's pacey, he's clinical, he's precise, he's technical, he can dribble. Kind of like Isak. Obviously, Isak just can't win headers for some reason, even though he's 6'3", which is really irritating. But Sesko actually can. So, and obviously, you can see a lot of other people on this list, which is interesting. I did have a little look while I was at work at Habib Diallo. No, I was actually working. So, if my boss is watching this, I was working. But Habib Diallo at Al Shabab, I caught my eye because obviously Miggy's linked with them. So,
Podmeister, thank you for gifting a Toon Review membership. That's very kind, matey, and that's gone to Jazz. So, thank you for that. Sorry, Alex.
And then if we scroll back up, so what has he done this year? 3 goals. But you've got to remember, it's only 490 minutes, 15 appearances. Not all of those are going to be starts. He's being bedded in slowly because he's still really, really young, even though he's got a decent amount of football. 230 minutes in the Champions League with 2 goals, which is interesting because that's at a much higher level as well, which is tidy. Yeah. His wages are still manageable. Funny that they've not, absolutely blown the bank transferring to each other. So yeah, there's the 6'4.5". Let's show you the important bit because everybody's dying to see it. He is right-footed, by the way. So there we go. There's the important stuff. Shots total is really, really nice. Over 3 shots a game as a centre forward is what you need. Shot creating actions is very high as well. So allowing 3 shots for teammates. So not only is he shooting 3 times per game himself, he's setting up other people to also have 3 shots. So that's 6 shots per game as a result of him just existing in your team, which is lovely. Progressive carries is also well above average. So for someone who's 6'4", I really like that. 2 progressive carries per 90 for somebody as tall as him is interesting. It's hard to take the ball off him because he's a battering ram, and he's also very technically proficient. Successful take-ons, when he takes you on, he's generally going to get past you, 1.59 per 90. When he has a go, he's good at it. Lots of touches in the attack and penalty area, you would imagine, because he's a centre forward. Defensive metrics are really impressive as well for a centre forward. 2 blocks per 90. His aerial duels are well above what Isak's are.
That's incredible for a striker, though, isn't it? The blocks. I mean, it
is a lot. I mean, maybe they're putting him in the front of a wall. Like, it is,
possibly,
how many minutes have we got? 737. So, I mean, maybe take this with a pinch of salt. I'd say wait till he's got double this. If he doesn't sign anywhere, we could revisit this in a couple of months. He'll have more data. It will make a bit more sense. But he is absurd. If we scroll down and have a look at his career to date, so Salzburg, as we know, of course, they always come first, which is annoying. So 23 starts, 30 appearances last season, and he was the guy. 16 goals, 4 assists. He was absolutely the guy in Austria. Everybody wanted Benjamin at this point. I am going to first name him. 5. So yeah, 3 goals, 5 starts this season in Germany. It is a more challenging league. So, but he's doing well so far. Let's go and have a look at his transfer marks. So hang on, we've got to
He's
get
got
rid
a
of
43 million release clause coming up in the summer, which I think is an absolute bargain for Šeško. I really do.
Well, I don't think that's. I don't really think that's the issue. I think the issue is this kid's got the pick of the world.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, centre forwards, when you're looking at players that are going to be really, really good centre forwards, or that currently are really good centre forwards, there's not many floating around in the market. Everybody's looking at Osimhen. Everybody's looking at Boniface from Leverkusen. There's not too many floating around. Whereas this kid's putting up reasonably good numbers, and he's going to be good.
Yeah.
So already, I mean, he's 20. 25 caps for Slovenia with 10 goals is magnificent. That's most of the time when we look at 20-year-olds who are good, they've got youth cap levels for their national team. This guy's already played 25 times for the senior team. That is, if that's not experience, then I don't know what is. That's crazy for his age. So he's contracted until 2028. So if it's not going to be a release clause, it's going to be a fat chunk of change. It's going to be a lot of money. Who's he linked with? Arsenal. Surprise, surprise. So he's been involved with the setup for a very long time. There's the dodgy transfer between Red Bull to Red Bull, 24 million euros. And yeah, he is going to be absolutely bonkers. There was one more thing I wanted to show you, and I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, injuries. I was going to double check that as well, why we were looking at him. So, because I remember somebody mentioned about injuries. We was on a show a few weeks ago and his name came up and somebody mentioned his injuries. And I checked today, not been injured in 2023 at all, according to transfer marks. Again, maybe they've missed one, but he's not been injured for a long, long time. So I get he's had a couple of issues, but he's not been injured for ages. And to be fair, it wasn't that long. It was a month, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And that's across his senior career to date. So I don't think that's too bad. It's better than Isak's record.
It's certainly not too bad at all when you look at Callum Wilson, for instance.
Well, I mean, I'd dread to even type that in. I don't think the page is long enough, so we won't go there.
Well, no, but you know what I mean. It's basically there for all to see. I mean, we're talking about getting somebody in who really stays fit, and Šeško does. He's on that record there. He stays
considering
fit,
the way he plays as well. He's very athletic. He runs like kind of Willock. He's tenacious. He will sprint for things. He will chase lost causes. There's clips of him online like busting a gut to get past two opposition players to keep it from going out. Whether that's on the sidelines or the touch, whichever, with the byline. He's exactly kind of what we like. He works hard. He never gives up on anything. He's a hard worker. He's physical. He's technical. Some of his goals, if you watch some of his goals, the quality as well. He's one of those that kind of just caresses the ball, silky finish, bends in a top corner. It's like you're watching FIFA. It looks ridiculous. His technique is immaculate, and he is going to go to the very top. I'd be shocked if this kid isn't one of the world's best strikers in the next couple of years. Like he's outrageous. He's got everything. Unless he gets serious injuries, he's so good.
Billy?
Yeah, no brainer, isn't it? I imagine there'd be lots of competition for his sign in mind. So would we be top of his list? I guess if we get Europa League, and maybe. But I think there'll be clubs at even higher level than that will be after him. Arsenal was mentioned in.
But we've got to expect that, Billy, haven't we? If we want to get the big players in, we've got to compete with the big boys.
Absolutely.
We'd have to break our wage structure to get him.
Yeah, but we also, when we talk about people saying, we're going to write the season off, we can't afford to do that. We need to finish as high in the Premier League as we can and hopefully get into Europe. Because even if we're not in the Champions League, like I said on this morning's show, getting into Europe still attracts the bigger players. And if you're not in Europe, where these elite players want to play, you're going to struggle to bring them in. And it's all about then trying to offer more money to get them in. And, where if we were in Europe,
hard sell.
It is a very hard sell.
Very hard sell, this one.
But,
if we were 3 years down the line, it'd be a lot more realistic. Whereas right now, this is a real tough sell. We're going to have to sell in the dream. We're going to have to hope that he falls in love with some aspect of the club. Maybe he idolized a certain player. This is a real tough one, though. I would be quite happy to say his next club is probably already picked, or at least there's a couple of options.
Get Shearer and Keegan out to see him. Let's use some ambassadors here. Let's get them out. Jam Stasher says, I watched Leipzig to see Šeško over the weekend and came away super impressed with Xavi Simons instead. Would love to get him.
He's so good. We reviewed him when he was at PSV, and he's just so good. He's so good.
Yeah. Macam Cabby's asking us if we still believe we can finish in the top 4. No. I think that's it's top 4 for me. I'm not even looking at anymore. I'm more bothered about getting into the other European places because I think, and people are banging on saying, oh, Thursday again, so what? Let's just get back into Europe. Because, like I keep saying, if we want to be a big side, we've got to be in European competition. We've got to be up there. And, it also helps bring in players.
I think we can finish above the team that are currently in 4th, but I think there's so many teams in between us and them that we're not going to be able to overtake, if you get my reasoning. Yeah.
I mean, what is the... How many points are we behind 4th right now? Has anyone got easy access?
A lot.
To it?
Is it 11? Something like that?
14. It might. I think it's more than that.
I mean, that's looking at an incredible.
I've got the table up if you want to look at it. I'm just refreshing it. There you go. So we are on 29 points. 4th are currently 43. So yeah, I was right. 14 points behind. 14. That's a lot. I mean, it's doable. We've got to play Villa as well.
Aston Villa may fall away, but you've still got sort of Chelsea, Manchester United. I mean, look, there's nothing to say we can't. But it's
7th is only 3 points away. So European football is still very much fine. Yeah. Champions League isn't. We've got to go on a monolithic, 10 games unbeaten.
Bloody hell, Alex, steady on, man. Monolithic.
We've got to go 10 games unbeaten and just pick up. We've got to do a City. We've got to go 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. I just don't see it happening at the moment.
No. I think it's going to be a push. And you've got to remember, our form at the minute is rank. We've lost, 8 out of 10? So the form guide would tell you that we've got no chance. What other people wouldn't tell you is it's Newcastle United. Anything can happen. So many things happen for different reasons in football. And you know what? I mean, I just think, realistically, top 4, no. But European football is well within our grasp, guys. And I think we have to acknowledge that. I mean, would you be happy with Europa League next season, Billy? Given how this season's gone?
100%. Yeah, of course I would.
I'd be happy with conference.
Especially where we are now. I mean, we're not in the spots now. So, I mean, I think the last 2 weeks has been a massive reset for us and we can go on one of these runs. So, I'm not ruling out Champions League just yet, but I think it's very unlikely.
Yeah. By the way, Bruno's just recently posted on social media. I don't know whether many people have seen this. There you go. He doesn't look like a person who is want to leave Newcastle United. I'll reiterate that many, many times.
He's loving it.
He's absolutely loving it here. And of course, in that famous Adidas top as well, which he will be wearing next season. Yes, I think Bruno will be here next season. Let's not even hopefully about it, Billy. Let's just say he will be here. Let's be confident about things.
Could I just mention though? I do want my I don't say I want my money back, but my calendar, my 2024 calendar, has Kieran Trippier and Callum Wilson on it. So can we not sell everyone that's on the calendar, please? You're bringing me back. This has got Kevin Nolan vibes about it. Can we not sell all the faces of the club as I've just put my calendar in the kitchen?
Interesting. And as it says, does anyone think Eddie is close to doing a Keegan facing the fans on the steps? I read something about that today when I was on the throne. Well, you didn't really have to tell us where you read it, and I said, but that's it's an interest. I saw that as well, to be honest. Look, why would he have to go onto the steps? Because I think any sensible fan knows why we have to sell players.
It's different kettle of fish as well, because in the Kevin Keegan days, he was in charge of everything football-wise. Now, is Eddie Howe in charge of ingoings and outgoings? I don't think so.
But can I just say, he sold Andy Cole. There was all hell broke loose. And who did he bring in?
Paul Kitson.
No, Billy. The long term. Yeah, Kitson was there for a short period of time. But who did he bring in?
Yeah, he brought Les Ferdinand in, yeah.
No, he didn't. Alan
he did.
Shearer, Billy.
Ferdinand coming first.
Yeah, but then... I know, but I'm saying Ferdinand, Shearer, etc. You know, it's just... players, it's a merry-go-round. And like I say, in this day and age, we can't get used to these players. We can't become, thinking, oh, my God, we can't get anybody. We can't lose anybody. It happens now. And it's going to happen for us for years to come, Alex.
What, in terms of selling players?
Well, just keeping the sort of, I don't know, like the production line running along. Players are here for a while. They will go. New players will come in.
I'm not sure what your question is, Paul. Is a football? I mean, yes, exactly what you said. Yeah, that's how.
That was me question, you idiot.
Yeah, I got a bit lost there. It got a bit long. Yeah, well, yeah, we'll train them, we'll buy them, and we'll sell them, and we'll try and win football matches. I feel like it's an Eddie Howe interview. I don't know.
I think I'm speaking to Eddie right now. What the hell has happened to you, Alex? I mean, Jesus Christ. It always
got lost by your.
No, don't blame me, right? Do not blame me at all. You take your eye off the ball towards the end of the show because you're thinking about beer and you're thinking about food, and it happens every bloody show when we come into the last 5 or 10 minutes.
The water, I will have you know.
Well, yeah, because that water is to quench something that is already been sucked into your body, Alex.
Lies.
So, no, but I'll let it wave. Billy, do we think Kieran Trippier is going to leave?
No, I don't think so.
And what about you think Almiron is going to be the player out of them all, don't you?
Yeah, I think Almiron's the most likely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Alex, do you think the same way? Because I mean, look, Almiron. I've just read in the comments actually somebody quoted that saying Almiron's got there's a sell-on clause for Atlanta as well. Which may be why Newcastle are trying to get a little bit more money for Almiron.
Yeah, so the rumoured picture is 20-ish million. However, we want 30 because he still has a 15 to 20% sell-on clause in his contract from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which logically makes sense why we're trying to push for a bit more. Difficult to know how much truth there is in that. I don't know. It's the first time this has come to light. We've never known about this before. Obviously, he's been linked with moves away before. He was linked with Atletico a couple of years ago. That never came up. The sell-on clause never came up from anybody back then. So it's just magically appeared out of nowhere in the news. Yeah, it would make sense. But I agree with what Billy said. Yeah, it is logically he's 29. I don't want to say he's less important to the project because that's really harsh because he's been really, really good for us in parts. And he doesn't get injured. He's ever present. He still works hard. I think my dog wants Miggy to go as well. But I do think he's the most likely to leave. Yeah.
Mine's flat out on the chair here next to me. So, yeah. Something has clearly angered Alex's dog. Mine is flat out on the I've got a little couch in the studio here. She is out for the count on the leather seat at the minute, so she's very much different to Alex. Never barks to go out, never does anything, and is frightened of everything. So yeah, but that's dogs for you. But Billy, I mean, it's going to be a very interesting few days now, isn't it? Because we're at the 23rd of January now. Time is ticking when it comes to the window. So for me, Newcastle, I'd find it very strange if we let players go, let's say over the weekend, close to the end of the window, because it doesn't give us a lot of time unless we have somebody ready to step in.
I would imagine the plan is already set out that if we are letting players go, that there's going to be instant replacements, and that has to be the way. Yeah. We're already short-staffed. We can't go into the second half of the season even more short-staffed. Absolutely not. So I imagine that there's got to be replacements ready to go straight away if we do sell someone. And if there isn't, then obviously we'll come February the 2nd, we'll all be discussing it and not being very happy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is it for tonight, guys. That is the transfer show done and dusted. Thank you very much for watching. Over 1,200. Mental. Thank you so much for tuning in. But we will
do something more on Alfie Harrison if I can find out more. Obviously, there's not a lot. So I'll try some digging. We might do something a bit more in depth. So sorry, guys. He's still very young. There's not a lot to go on.
Absolutely.
So I'll do my best.
But please try not to listen to a lot of in the nose on social media. You build your hopes up for nothing. But we are done and dusted. We are back tomorrow night, of course, the three of us with the Toon Review Q&A. We'll have a bit of fun with that. As well as all the latest Newcastle United news. I'll be back in the morning for the 11 o'clock news show as well. So do tune in for that if you possibly can. We're getting nearly 1,000 people watching that now as well, which is bonkers. It's incredible. So it's really starting to take off. Please do subscribe if you're new and you've liked what you've seen, or if you're watching this on a rerun. Of course, don't forget to give it the likes, guys, because we really need to stay in the search results on YouTube so the fellow fans like yourselves can find us. And of course, don't forget to hit the notification bells, which will let you know when we upload any videos or we schedule in our lives. Thank you for all your super chats and your memberships. And mods, thank you again. Billy and Alex, thank you. And a massive thanks to you guys out there. You're absolute legends. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Try and stay safe in the wind. It's howling again. But we will see you all tomorrow. Good night.
Away the lads and lasses.
Come back and check on some green.